Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for coming back for another episode here. It's kind of a lull here as far as you can't really hunt, right? Hunting season's done. You can't fish. Great. I did go ice fishing last week, but I'm just catching little dinks. And I don't have the gear to really dig into ice fishing that great, but I do dabble a little, let's say. But anyways, there's kind of a lull, right? You had the ATA show that showcased all the new stuff, and now it's kind of a down period, I guess, at least for me. There's still smaller shows going on, but the new stuff has been released, right? And I've done a few videos about a few different companies. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to go back today and talk about the crossbows that I do have and kind of grade them and rate them based on uh, what my experience with them has been, right? Because obviously we have all the way from like a $90 Killer Instinct. Just a quick correction, that Killer Instinct bow, yeah, not $90. Not sure where I got that. I think it was 160, which is still just a steal, guys. An absolute steal. 160 bucks for a crossbow. You can't beat that. This was like 320-ish, right around there. You got the, $500 Barnett right behind me, and then you have the $200 Barnett, right, which is 8 years old now, I believe, going on. So I wanted to talk about these and kind of just maybe discuss what I like and what I don't like in those different price ranges. And just, I've had a few people ask me, well, with the ones you have, what's your favorite? And I don't think that'll be a surprise, but my second favorite might be a surprise. So straight up, not going to waste any time. What is my favorite crossbow right now? It is, for me, it is my Raptor BCX. Now, that being said, I have had problems with that Raptor lineup, right? As you guys know. But every problem has been because of a knock, right? So, I guess that doesn't make me shy away from it. And every year that comes out, they seem to be making this better, right? So you have the Raptor that decocks now, and then you have the new T-Rex, which has that floating trigger box. That's going to be pretty cool. But the BCX versus the Raptor, I feel a little more comfortable with this. It's got a little heavier limbs, and they have tweaked a few things. So this is still my favorite. But why is it my favorite, right? If I've had issues with it, why is it still my favorite crossbow? The answer for that's pretty simple. It feels amazing in your hands, right? It's balanced well. I mean, it rips the bolts down the range, no problem. But you have that Trigger Tech trigger. The handle is comfortable. It's very adjustable, right? First, I was unsure about the scope, but it is a very clear scope. Great field of vision through that scope. And just, it's everything that I want my bow to feel like in my hand, right? Smooth shooting, comfortable, it's just, it just feels right. And that's hard to explain, I guess, to someone who's looking for their first crossbow. But the comfort of this crossbow is just better than the rest. Let's see if I can get it down here. So you have rubber handle, right? Just that alone is a big deal to me. It's very, very comfortable. Feels very, very nice in your hands. And it's just a nice crossbow. I really, really like it. And then, you're around that. They're sneaking up in price. But that was around, I think, $5.99. And if you know the story, I originally bought the Raptor. String broke because of a knock on a headhunter arrow, a lighted knock on that. They said, okay, we're going to replace that. They replaced it. And then the following year, the knock broke on a Hyperflight arrow and broke the string. They didn't have any more Hyper Raptors at the time, so they upgraded me to that, right? So that is how I ended up with this one. And that is around $600. Still my favorite bow, right? So then what would be my second go-to bow, right? The one that I think, let's not take the Raptor BCX today. I'm going to grab, it is not the Killer Instinct, guys. It is actually the Centerpoint Amped 425. There are a lot of features that I really like about this bow, and I'm going to go over them here for you right now. All right, so this one doesn't feel too bad in your hands either. It also has the rubbery grip on here. It's not as comfortable as the Raptor, right? But it does have a nice grip. I don't love the front grip. It's neither here nor there. At first, I really didn't like it, but it has grown on me. But you can see those grooves. Not my most favorite feeling when it's on my hand. The scope is adequate. It does the job, right? But what I really like is right at the end there. I like the foot stirrup on this. It does flip down. I'll show you guys that. It flips down so you can set it on something, which is quite handy. But even there, you can see how far it sticks down. That's actually very handy just to set it on your shooting rail if you're gonna shoot. But if you needed even more, you can see there, it flips down even more, right? Which is even nice just for target practicing. You can flip that down, set it down. It's like its own little tripod. That's really nice. Now what I really like about this is you just have your standard half moon knock arrows, right? So I actually have some Barnett headhunters here, which is probably my favorite arrow to use still. And I use those with this as well. So this would be my second favorite. Shoots fast, extremely accurate. I mean, extremely accurate. And it just looks good. It's comfortable. It's a good crossbow. That being said, there are a few downsides, right? Extremely loud. It is loud. But you're shooting fast enough that shouldn't matter. And again, you shouldn't need more than one shot, in my opinion, right? And also, safety and trigger, they leave a little bit to be desired there. I would love to see them upgrade the trigger on these, but hey, it's my second go-to crossbow, right? That would be the Centerpoint Amped 425. That only leaves a couple more, right? So obviously, my next choice would be the next new one, right? Not the 7-year-old crossbow, right? The one that's only a year old. Well, that would make it, my third choice, the Killer Instinct, right? Actually, no. So I would much rather take out my 8-year-old Barnett Game Crusher that shoots like 340 feet per second, guys. That would be my third favorite bow out of the ones I have. And this is basic, guys. It's just basic. It's wide. It's got a simple scope. Nothing crazy, right? Shoots the headhunters. Big old foot stirrup on it. There's nothing special about this bow. Nothing. But it is crazy accurate, right? You're not going to be launching like the newer ones. You're not launching 40, 50 yards, but you could easily do a 30-yard shot with this. You get the job done. I am on my second string, but that was my own fault. Before they updated these trigger boxes, or whatever you want to call them, the trigger safety, this one, you could put the arrow in, take the arrow out. If you bump the trigger, it would shoot, even though the arrow wasn't in there anymore. I let someone borrow it. They took the arrow out. And when I reached to grab to pick it up off the floor, I just bumped the trigger and bam. So that snapped the string, right? But everything else was fine. Put a new string on it. It's golden. So this would be my third go-to, guys. It is just your simple, basic crossbow, right? And it's one of their best-selling crossbows, right? That style Barnett has made for a while. There was, I think, 3 different variations of the Game Crusher, and there's other things now. There's like the Spartan, I think. You go to Dunham's or Cabela's, they kind of each have their own variation, I believe, and those are just solid bows, guys. And the price is down there, right? You're looking at like $250-ish. Sales, you might get them down $200. So that is a great option if you're not looking at launching arrows crazy distances. My last pick, this kind of hurts me because it's a Michigan company, right? And I have tried to work with them to test out some of their more higher end stuff, but no luck so far, right? So if you want to see more Killer Instincts, just comment below or send them an email, and say, hey, have this guy test these out for us before we buy them, right? But this is the Killer Instinct Hero 380. Now with Killer Instinct, cheap. That's what you're getting, right? You are saving money with a Killer Instinct. And you can kind of tell, especially with this one. But there are some things that you notice, right? And there's a reason that it's my last pick. The trigger on this thing is horrible, right? I hate it. But I'm also used to the Trigger Tech trigger, so that might be why. You might notice I have different bolts than what came with it. Their bolts were not consistent. So I am using Sanlita's Warpath 8s with it to get the consistency I want. The scope, very basic, guys. All this stuff, everything's plastic, right? Now that being said, does it get the job done? Yeah, you go kill a deer with this. Absolutely. It shoots bolts, and it is a crossbow. It does what it is supposed to do. It is not the most comfortable thing in your hand. It is very cheap feeling because it is so plasticky, no rubber grip, nothing like that. Trigger, not very nice, honestly. And what really shocked me with this, and I have had numerous people shoot this, is like the kickback, right? You don't think about that with a crossbow, but they do kick, and this thing kicks. So if you're used to shooting other crossbows, you're gonna shoot this one like me and be like, ooh, there's a lot of kick there, and it's gonna hang more than the rest of them, right? That being said, is it a terrible crossbow? No, absolutely not. But if you're looking at the lower end Killer Instincts, that's what you're going to get, right? It's not going to be all fancy and nice. And that is why this is my last pick for the ones that I would take out to hunt with. Now, obviously, this is my opinion, my perspective, right? But I have been asked to do this video, so I thought I would. Is there one brand that I lean towards more than the others? You guys know that I lean towards Barnett, but that is because I've always had one, right? And for all you 10-point people out there, I know you love your 10 points and they're the best bows in the world. They might be. Their price range has been out of what I have been able to afford up until, well, this year it looks like they've kind of got some coming down, right? So I do hope to maybe try like their lower end Wicked Ridge and see what I think of those. But this video is just what I think about the ones I have now, right? If I was looking for a very cheap, budget-friendly bow, I would go Barnett. I would, whether that's the Spartan or if the Game Crusher's still around or they have like the XP series. That's where I would go. It is just because they're lower end, not getting into fancy technology bows are just solid. They're solid, good crossbows, right? So that would be my opinion on that. Now, if I was going to step up into that next tier, that 5 to 6, maybe inching a little above 600, that's where it becomes a little more fluid. I love my Raptor BCX because I love how it feels in my hand. That's me. You may like something else. I also really like that center point amped 425. It's very, very close, honestly. It's really close. I think I would still grab the Raptor first. Like if, this is gonna sound funny, but if there's a buck in front of me, I probably want the Raptor. I don't know why, but if I was to, hey, there's your dream deer, I think that's the one I'd want. But again, it's very, very close, right? Because there are some things with the Raptor that are not my favorite, like the smaller diameter arrows. And yes, you can shoot standard diameter arrows. But I try to shoot what I think you guys would probably be doing, right? If you buy this kit, you're going to be shooting the hyper flights, right? Because that's what comes with it. So that's what I do. But yeah, it's a toss-up there between the center point and 425 coming in just below the Raptor BCX, right? But the BCX has more features, and that's what pushes it up, right? If you're going to spend around that money, probably would go for the BCX. That being said, I got a really good sale on that center point, so it wasn't even up in that $400, $500 range. It was down $315, something like that. So you can find good sales on those. Now, if you want to step up closer to $1,000, as of right now, you're talking, or I guess not talking, but you're watching the wrong video. I don't have anything around that range, and maybe this year I'm hoping to get my hands on the T-Rex and show you guys that, and just, that would be the next big step, right? Maybe get my hands on a 10-point or a Wicked Ridge, test those out, right? And kind of show you guys that next step. But for now, I don't. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to quick do a video that showed you guys what I was thinking as far as out of my crossbow lineup, which brand would I choose to take out first, second, third, fourth, right? And obviously, never hunted with the regular compound because I've only shot it a few times. It is fun though. I can see why some guys are compound purist. That won't be me. The accuracy and just the technology of a crossbow is just too good to pass up. But anyways, thanks for coming and checking it out. We'll catch you on the next one, guys, where I'm thinking maybe I talk range finding scopes. Not sure I'm a fan. We'll see. If you can, just subscribe, please. That helps grow the channel so I can do more videos like this. Thank you.